Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Truck Guy Joe. Today's video, we're finally going to put this truck to the test. We're going to go out and do a towing mile per gallon check, if you will. So now that the engine rebuild is completely done, the restoration on the truck, the tuning is all done, I've driven it about 1,000 miles. It's time to see now if my miles per gallon has gotten better or worse with the tune. And today we're really going to max the truck out. We're going to tow pretty much the max allowable gross combined weight that this truck is rated for by Chevrolet. And one thing I want to mention right up front is when I had the dyno tune done and the tow haul tune, they accounted for the size of the tire. So when we do this mile per gallon test, it will be the accurate miles driven, accurate mile per hour, now that we adjusted for the 34-inch tall tire. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go over all the restoration items again and the motor work that was done. So please refer to my previous video, the one where the truck's at the dyno. In that video, you can see the dyno graph from the Mustang dyno. You can see the horsepower, torque. I give you a list of the engine modifications that were done, what camshaft, etc. So please refer to that video if you'd like to see what work was done to the truck. And yes, we've got a new project truck coming to the channel right over here in the lift bay. More videos to come on this little gem coming soon. My apologies if there's a lot of wind noise. I do have my windsock on the microphone, but it's pretty breezy. So we're here filling up with premium. The truck does have a premium tune from Hutter. Put things in perspective, today is August 11, 2024. Premium fuel is $4.61, so it's just about to top off here. Once it's topped off, I'm gonna go to the weigh station. We're gonna weigh the truck with myself in it with a fuel tank of fuel. Then we're gonna come back and weigh it with the gooseneck empty, and then we'll come back and weigh the full load so we know our gross combined weight. I have the Weigh My Truck app on my phone for the cat scales, so we're just going to go ahead and pull right on the scales. We'll get a empty weight of the truck with fuel tank of fuel and myself behind the wheel. There you have it. 3740 on the front axle, 2600 on the rear axle, no trailer yet. So we came in at 6340 with myself behind the wheel. I weigh about 160 pounds and a fuel tank of premium fuel. I know that I talk a lot. I will try to sum this up as best I can. The reason why I'm interested in weighing the empty trailer with the truck is I want to know exactly what effect the trailer has on the truck. And here's why. This truck isn't rated for that much work. It's basically a 9,200 gross vehicle weight rating truck. It has a 6,084 rated rear axle. So what that means, that's gross weight. That's the most you can apply to the rear axle. And I know this is a heavy trailer. This trailer weighs about 9,000 pounds the way it sits. 34-foot gooseneck, toolboxes are loaded. There's a lot of hitch weight here. So we need to see where are we at already empty on the rear axle so we know what reserve is left. How much more can we add? That'll tell us how much weight we can put on the deck and where to position it. And the other number is the gross combined weight rating. We have to be careful not to exceed what the manufacturer rated this truck for. Chevrolet rates this particular truck right here at 22,000 gross combined weight. That's the truck, the trailer, and whatever weight we're carrying. That 22,000 is for the 8.1 big block with the 410 rear axle and the Allison 5-speed. And I know that 22,000 because I still had the brochure when the truck was new. That's one of the numbers I was paying attention to. So I do have that, back in my office of what the GCWR is. But also, let's cut to the owner's manual because you'll be interested to see, let's compare the 6-liter versus the 8.1 versus the Duramax. Those numbers also may surprise you a little bit. Let's take a look. Let's have a little more fun with the numbers. This is my 2001 Silverado. Check that out. Owner's manual from when the truck's brand new, still have it. Let's go right to the manual. K2500 regular cab long box HD full drive. 8.1 with 373s, max trailer weight 13.7. 410s, 15.7. And the gross combination on this truck is 22,000 with the 410s. They're rated at 20 with the 373s. So that every bit helps there. And take a look at this. If I had this truck in a Duramax, I am technically rated to tow more weight with this truck. This has a higher tow rating by 100 pounds than a Duramax. And that's mainly because that engine is so heavy. You're giving up towing and payload because the diesel engine weighs so much more than the gas. But that's an interesting fact. When I ordered this truck with the 410s, I actually ordered the highest tow rating available back in 2001 for a 2500 regular cab. One more snippet I want to mention is, as I mentioned, this truck is 9,200 pounds. That's the most the entire truck is allowed to weigh. So if you put the truck over the scales and add the front and rear axles together, it cannot exceed 92. And remember, you also can't exceed 4,800 on the front. You can't exceed 6,084 in the rear. But you'd be amazed how easy it is to just add a trailer and have too much hitch weight. And you can technically make the truck come in over 9,200. So what that means is once I put something on the trailer, let's see what happens once we add the steer and the drive together. We better make sure no matter what we carry, once everything transfers, that when you add these together, these two, it doesn't exceed 9,200 pounds. That's also a number you need to be cognizant of. So there you have it. We added a little bit of weight to the front. You can see we were 2,600 on the drive axle before we added the trailer, so you can see how much hitch weight is added. There's the trailer axle. Now this trailer has dual 8,000 pound axles, so you can be 16,000 on the trailer axle, so there's plenty of room to go there. But there it is, gross combined weight, we're 15,240 empty. So that leaves less than 7,000 pounds that we could actually put on the trailer and not exceed the gross combined weight rating of the truck itself. So these are good numbers to see, but the good news is we still have some wiggle room on that 6,084. We can still add some weight to that rear drive axle. So we can therefore, use this as a guide to make sure the truck is sitting nice and we've got the correct amount of hitch weight. So I always use the terms, you want to be safe, you want to be legal. Now that we've figured out the majority of our math for towing, this 99 K2500 that I recently purchased, this is a perfect candidate for this tow test, given that the curb weight of this truck is definitely less than 7,000 pounds, and that's where we need to come in now. We had to come in under 7. So this truck should put us pretty close to our max gross combined weight. And then also once we weigh, we'll make sure we're not overweight on the truck's rear axle and not exceeding the gross weight of the entire truck. I even left these tires in the back just to add a little bit more weight because I knew this truck was going to come in a little on the light side. So I figured, what the heck, I'll leave the BFGs back here just to add a little more to the load to get as close as we could to 22,000. This really couldn't have worked out any better. We added some more trailer weight to the rear axle of the truck, but we did not exceed 6,084. So technically, I could move this truck up a little closer, but I'm not going to. That's fine. Also, we're nowhere near over on the trailer axle, and keep in mind, we couldn't exceed 22,000. So we've got about 1,000 pounds to spare, a little more than that, so this worked out really good. I could be 6084, but I don't want to put max weight over the rear axle. We've added enough, so we're going to roll just like this. I really couldn't be happier the way this turned out. I have a feeling the mileage is not going to be that pretty. I've been working this truck really hard. I'm talking 65 to 70, lots of grades, a lot of wide open throttle, really putting the truck through the paces. Some interstate, some kind of through town, also some backcountry roads, a little mixture of everything. But I wanted to at least stop and look under the hood. It's the first time this engine's been worked this hard since being rebuilt. Just want to make sure nothing's leaking. No smoke coming out, anything like that. So far under here, everything looks good. No complaints under here. No leaks anywhere, nothing smoking. I don't see any haze. There's nothing that's sprayed anywhere. So glad to see it's holding together, because man, I've held this thing at some pretty high RPM for sustained times, for sure, pulling some of these grades. This is honestly what I expected. The numbers aren't going to be pretty, but here's why. Let's talk about it real quick here. Let's see why there's a difference on this run versus prior runs with this truck. I did a total of 57.4 miles. Hopefully you can read that. I have never towed this much weight with this truck when doing a mile per gallon test. In my previous videos, I was pulling a different trailer and hauling a different piece of equipment. So this is literally maxed out. On my YouTube channel, those other videos that I have, there's 2 other videos of mile per gallon with this truck. I've never hauled this much weight. So I'm not surprised we got 5 miles per gallon. Bottom line is I got to redo the tow test using that trailer and the John Deere. I still have the trailer from that first video. That's an 18-foot, just bumper pull, probably weighs 4,000 pounds. That John Deere probably weighs 3,000 pounds, maybe 3,500. So just call it combined, are we 7,500 pounds? That empty trailer there weighs 9,000 pounds. Plus the truck is another 6, so we're 15,000 versus, what, 7,500? So we pulled double the weight and we only dropped less than 2 miles per gallon. Tells me that engine's working, it's doing its job. So we only got one thing left to do. I'm gonna have to just make the time to do it. Let's go back to day 1. That trailer, that tractor, and see where we come in at. That's the answer.